Welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, everybody, where I bring you the latest on Second Amendment issues and our constitutional rights. Today, we're deep diving into a groundbreaking legal battle unfolding in Minnesota. Stay tuned. If you're a truck driver, you're going to want to watch this. And if you're passionate about defending your rights, hit that subscribe button right now and join this growing freedom family. On January 7th, 2025, just last week, a pivotal lawsuit was filed in Minnesota. Plaintiffs David McCoy and Jeffrey Johnson, both of whom are long-haul truck drivers and law-abiding gun owners, are challenging Minnesota's restrictive firearm permit laws. These laws, they argue, violate the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Now, before I break it down, I want to thank the sponsor of the video, that's CMMG. I've linked to 2 CMMG YouTube videos in the description and in the pinned comment. And CMMG released a brand new product at the beginning of the year. It's the 338 Arc Descent. It's such a fun item. It's a shorty, and we stretched that out to 300 yards. Watch that video, our first thoughts on that, first shots and thoughts. It's pretty cool. The second video is their anniversary giveaway. It's not too late to get in on the anniversary giveaway for the Mark 47. It's the 10th year anniversary for that, and it's proven to be a phenomenal tool. You're going to watch the entire video so you know where to go to get into that giveaway. And don't forget, guys, if you're shopping there, use code GNG10 and save on everything over at CMMG. Thanks to CMMG for sponsoring this video. All right, so Minnesota currently refuses to recognize firearm permits from 29 other states, including Texas, Florida, and Georgia, states of where our plaintiffs hold valid permits. This means that millions of law-abiding gun owners traveling to Minnesota are effectively disarmed unless they go through the costly and time-consuming process of obtaining a separate Minnesota permit. There are several states like that. Massachusetts doesn't recognize a single permit from any other state in the union. Yeah. Now think about it. You don't lose your First Amendment rights when you cross state lines, do you? Why should you lose your Second Amendment rights? Why should your Second Amendment rights be any different from any other guaranteed right? Well, the answer is they shouldn't. Now, David McCoy is a Texas resident and a professional truck driver. He travels 300 days a year across the United States. Truckers are what keeps this country going. Every good you see in a store at some point has been in a tractor-trailer unit. That's how it gets from point A to point B. He carries a firearm for self-defense, especially given the risks that truckers face. Now, despite holding a valid Texas license and extensive safety training, Minnesota denies his right to carry. Jeffrey Johnson, another plaintiff, holds permits from Florida and Georgia and has over 20 years of firearm safety experience. Both men have impeccable records and extensive training, yet they're forced to lock their firearms away when they're in the state of Minnesota. The crux of their lawsuit: Minnesota's refusal to recognize out-of-state permits infringes on the Second Amendment, as incorporated by the 14th Amendment, so it's applicable to the states. The plaintiffs argue there's no historical or legal precedent for such restrictive policies. They're 100% right. Here are the 4 opening paragraphs to their lawsuit. Listen to this, it's pretty cool. This is a constitutional challenge to Minnesota's refusal to recognize firearm permits lawfully issued by other states. Minnesota criminalizes carrying a firearm without a Minnesota permit or a recognized out-of-state firearm permit. Every year, the commissioner for Minnesota's Department of Public Safety decides which out-of-state permits Minnesota will and will not recognize. The recognition of out-of-state firearm permits is at the commissioner's sole discretion and not based on objective standards, or the Constitution, I'll add. Currently, Minnesota only recognizes out-of-state firearm permits from 20 states and refuses to recognize out-of-state permits from 29 states, including Texas, Florida, and Georgia. In other words, millions of law-abiding citizens who lawfully bear arms in their home states cannot do so while visiting the state of Minnesota unless they obtain a separate Minnesota firearm permit. Minnesota's failure to honor lawfully issued firearm permits from all states places an unreasonable burden on plaintiffs' Second Amendment right to bear arms. Individuals do not lose their constitutional rights simply by crossing into another state. In fact, there is no other constitutional right that Minnesota requires a visiting individual to first obtain permission before they may exercise a fundamental right. The Minnesota firearm permit law and the commissioner's arbitrary refusal to recognize the lawfully issued firearm permits from other states violates the Second Amendment. Defendant will continue to infringe on millions of Americans' right to keep and bear arms in Minnesota unless and until a court declares the law and actions unconstitutional and enjoins the defendant's enforcement. Pretty powerful opening to a lawsuit right there, guys. Cases like Bruin and Heller have already established that the right to carry firearms for self-defense extends beyond the home. Now the courts must decide. Can Minnesota enforce policies that effectively create a patchwork of rights across state lines? This case isn't just about McCoy and Johnson, y'all. It's about millions of law-abiding Americans who could face criminal charges for exercising a fundamental right while traveling. That's all of us. If successful, this case could set a national precedent for firearm reciprocity. Maybe we don't need these two bills that are pushing their way through the House of Representatives at the moment. At Guns and Gadgets, we believe in defending our constitutional rights. If this story resonates with you, please share this video to raise awareness to this lawsuit. And before you go, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more updates on this critical case. Together, let's keep the conversation going and stand up for our freedoms, everybody. Now is not the time to let our foot off the accelerator. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and stay free here on Guns and Gadgets. News for Patriots by Patriots. Take care, America.